when you guys are talking, because everyone please be quiet. We have no
We're
mic
about to start in a couple
talking,
minutes.
So just respect
stay
the person and make sure everyone's around first. We are live.
We're live. We're about to start. I don't want to say your last name wrong, but this is my buddy Matthew. You say your last name? This is the man right here. You need announcements? You need an announcer? You guys know who look for. Follow him on Facebook. He's gonna be bringing us in.
Guys,
all right, we are live on Facebook.
Point. You guys walk up here. Just walk up with your mask and take it off. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Kelly, for bringing that up. All right, guys, we're ready.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here and attending the 2020 Jackhammer Promotions Hall of Fame Award Ceremony. This evening's festivities are about paying homage and honoring men and women who courageously have given blood, sweat, and parts of themselves for combat sports and jackhammer promotions. This trying pandemic time, as Billy Joel says, it slows down, but it never stops. And one of those things is gratitude. And tonight, we give that gratitude to those men and women who have dedicated themselves, their lives, and careers to combat sports and jackhammer promotions. It's pairing up supermen and superwomen with superlatives such as unmatched dedication, best up-and-coming fighter, best female fighter, the mountain movers, the toughest SOBs, the Iron Men, the best come-from-behind fighter, best MMA fighters, and we are also inducting 3 new members into the Jackhammer Promotion Hall of Fame this evening. Now, who better fitting than to do it all than the man himself? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bobby Jackhammer Campbell.
What's going on, guys? Before we get started, actually, let's give a big round of applause for our ring announcer who has the most amazing voice there is, Mr. Matthew. We love Matt. He's a great ring announcer. He's a great part of Jackhammer Promotions. Before we get to our first award, I want to thank everyone for coming out to this event. I know it's rough times, and everyone coming out just means a lot to us. It means a lot to the fight community. Everyone here is part of a family. We are the fight family. So we try to do this for you guys. I don't do this for myself. I do this for you guys. You guys deserve everything because you guys are the warriors getting in that ring, the coaches that put everything behind their fighters. So let's give a round of applause to everyone here. Thank you so much for coming. One more person I want to thank. Without this person, is the man behind the scenes. Without this person, I wouldn't be here. He's always the mastermind behind everything. And as the manager of MOK, he's Mr. Alan Dorman. Let's give him a round of applause. Without Alan, we would not be here today. Before we get into the awards, I do want to announce, as this whole thing was going on, Jackhammer Promotions has finally reached a new business agreement, and we will be doing international shows now. Jackhammer Promotions finally will be doing shows in England. That's not of a promotion. Jackhammer Promotions will be running shows in England. So we will be running shows in England 4 times a year now. And then we will also be bringing English champions versus American champions. So I'm very happy. That was just finalized 2 days ago. So the Jackhammer Promotions has an awesome big step to do more international events for you guys as fighters. It's the biggest thing. We have Tommy B Butler here who's going to be inducted later on, but I don't want to go too much into it now, but he is the man who's behind most international fights from New York. So without him teaching me the way, I wouldn't be able to be where I am today. So we're going to get into Tom Butler later, but let's give one round of applause to Tom Butler right now. Let's get into our first award. Our first award goes to a man who is the best MMA fighter on Jackhammer Promotions. This man is a very good trash talker. He is a very good jiu-jitsu guy, and he is a very good striker. Let's call up the 2020 best MMA fighter, Mr. Mike Bazile.
How's everyone doing tonight? Good?
I want to thank Bobby Campbell for hosting this event. It really means a lot. Being able to come out here in the midst of all this pandemic and, nobody's fighting, nobody's really doing anything. A lot of people aren't even training right now. A lot of the schools are closed. A lot of the places are not doing too well. So to be able to come out here and accept this award and see everybody again, it really does mean a lot. It definitely lifts the spirits. Getting everybody here, all the fighters, all the schools, whether there's hate, whether there's, some beef, it doesn't matter. We're all here, part of the same family, just like what Bobby said. So again, I really appreciate this award. Get this early in my career is an honor, and it's definitely a booster. So thank you again, Bobby. I appreciate it. I just want to give a quick shout out to my team, Coach Moses, Professor Chris, Alex, Vamos MMA, Coach Tommy Batone over at AFC, my friends, family, my beautiful girlfriend, who is my biggest supporter, my number one fan. I really appreciate it. So here's to next year. Hopefully we're fighting again, and let's get it, guys. Thank you.
Hold on just 1 second. Let me just check the live, make sure it's in a good position. I gotta move it back before you do the next person. So I'll make sure we're getting it really good. Just checking the live portion. One moment. All right. You Brian. Just move it back just a touch.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue, the award for Best Up-and-Comer goes to somebody who I've only really gotten to know through post-fight interviews and through introductions, but that individual is indeed a killer. Killer Kelly Boyle. And here to say a few words, Mr. Bobby Campbell.
Before Kelly comes up, we're going to give a couple of words about Kelly. As Kelly started, she didn't start on our shows on Jackhammer Promotions. She started on different shows. When she came to our shows, she showed that she is an incredible athlete. Every time she fought, she got better and better. And she is undefeated on Jackhammer Promotions. And she finally earned her way in the first ever women's tournament that she would be fighting for the Queen of New York when we have a show. But she was fighting for a title, and she earns it, and she is definitely the 2020 best up-and-coming fighter, Kelly Boyle.
It's about to be abundantly clear that Mike knew their speeches way before I did. Thank you so much for this, Bobby, and everybody involved in Jackhammer and my teammates. Some people know, some people don't, but about 3 years ago, I was roughly walking around at 250 pounds, and I had never thrown a punch at another person until I stepped into a gym. And I never would have imagined that I'd be here. So thank you to every teammate, everyone I've ever sparred with, the other half of the Bond Dream team, Chrissy and Dolly. Everyone at No Limits, Rick Schaefer, amazing coach. My first coach as well, Moses. Thank you for everything that you started me off with. And the people at Vamos as well. My wonderful fiance, who's way more famous than I am, Harry Jermaine. I'm very thankful for the shouted title, Bobby, and I hope to make Jackhammer Promotions proud, and everyone as well. And Mom and Dad, I love you.
To ever compete on any card in combat sports or Jackhammer promotion requires dedication. Always there are degrees, but this next award for unmatched dedication, we present to Mr. Jorge Calderon.
As Jorge meets us right here, a little story about Jorge. A lot of guys don't know him because he fought a lot of shows when we were at Sons of Italy. Not too many shows at Mulcahy's. We know he had one very, very big fight on Mulcahy's where he fought a very, very experienced fighter. And he really shows how much he is determined to always come back and come better and better and better each time he's out there. So Jorge really deserves this trophy. The opponents that he fought, because the opponents he fought were so much experience more than him, and it's made him such a better fighter. Congratulations, Jorge.
Yeah, George.
All I want to say right now is just thank you to Bobby. You know, he's been great to me, and I just want my fucking rematch. You know, but honest, give me my fucking rematch. You know what I'm saying? 145, 155, knocking everybody out next year. You heard?
Let's go.
Knocking everybody out. But for real, thank you to Bobby. You know, like he always been great to me. Me and Bobby, you know, you will see next step. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, buddy.
Our next award for Best Come From Behind win goes to a gentleman who shares the same name as a TV star. And I don't know about you people, but I personally prefer live action fights over television. As we call up Mr. Jason Lee, here is Bobby Campbell.
I don't know if a lot of you guys saw the fight between Jason Lee and Nate King. It actually goes in the record books for Jackhammer Promotions, one of the best knockouts there was. When I set that match up as a matchmaker, a lot of people told me, how can you do that to Jason Lee? He won't win that fight and he's gonna get knocked out. And I said, no, I actually sparred Jason myself and he's actually a pretty tough guy. One of my fighters fought Jason, he's a very tough guy. And I sat ringside and I watched this fight unfold. And the first 30 seconds, Jason got rocked and got knocked down in the first 30 seconds. And he was getting beat up. And Jason came back in the first round to knock out Nate King, who's very, very experienced, very good, talented fighter. And he knocked him out cold in one of the most epic fights there is. You guys have time. Tonight, you guys should YouTube Jason Lee versus Nate King. It is the most epic fight we probably had on our show. And Jason Lee deserves this trophy more than anyone else.
How's it going, guys? First off, thanks to Bobby. Thanks for Bobby putting together this show. You know, putting together this award thing. It's funny because when I just think back to like my aunts and grandmother and all that stuff, and she would always run around taking pictures and doing all this other stuff, and I didn't really care about that. I just cared about playing, doing whatever it was. But to have things like this, little snapshots as reminders that we did something, as opposed to a couple scars on the faces and stuff like that, because memory fades, over time, and that's not something to be grateful for, but it's just the reality. I look out there. So first, I want to thank Bobby for putting this together. For me, I just want to compete. I like competing, but just to have something like that, talk with the kids about or what have you, this was fun. Bobby stopped by and said, "Hey, you have a speech too," and I was like, "Oh shoot!" I've done it. So I try to jot something down, at least out of appreciation. And the reality is that I practice martial arts pretty much my whole life, and I love it. And it's a strange thing. Martial arts is such a strange thing. It's a collection of opposites. Sometimes it seems easy, sometimes it's hard. All the work that we put in there seems like it's. But then the things that other people would deem to be easy, such as maybe skipping practice or doing something else, it's hard for those that actually train. It's harder just to walk out and say, you know what, I'm gonna walk away. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go hang out or whatever it is. And then that makes the rest of our lives easy. Like shoveling snow or whatever it is. It's just that becomes easier because of the things that we do. Running the hills, doing road work, the less glorious things, then you can actually last, And I look around and I shook hands with Dan, and he hit me very hard too. And he made me a better martial artist, you know. And I walked out of that fight, but then later on I was carried out, you know, after the back, and we were talking and all that stuff. And there's nothing about it. It's just one of those things that is just carry forward and makes you a better person. And that's what I think is another one of those strange opposites in martial arts, that I can fight. We can think about each other for 3 months, 4 months, and just think like, how am I going to beat this guy? How am I going to beat this guy? Try to hurt him. And then later on, after the fight, just kind of shaking hands and much respect, you know. And it's a great sport in that sense, you know. I think those are the main things. The one thing that I think I'm grateful for out of all of it is that, I heard this guy say, it's like this: those who waste my time waste my existence, you know. And then I just kept thinking about that over the years and said, you know, it's very important for me not to waste other people's time, and very important for me not to waste my own time, you know. And I'm grateful for this event, you know, and not just this event, but even the promotion coming down, and him putting me in a ring with Nate King, and putting my opponent, my teammates in, and we made sure not to waste his time, you know, by giving our best in training and preparation, and whatever it was. I'm just going to give my best every time, win, lose, or draw. We'll always do that. But thanks again for your time. Thank you for your time, and that's it.
Hell of a knockout, brother. Hell of a knockout.
The old adage goes, ladies and gentlemen, when there's a will, there's a way. William Wallace was a proverbial mountain mover. And we call Bobby Campbell up to the podium to present the Mountain Mover Award to Will Hoya.
Now, a lot of you guys know that Will's my fighter for many years, and Will takes a lot of fights, and he helps me out. As a promoter, I always call Will up and say someone backs out, and Will jumps in last minute. Will does this multiple times on my show, and he does this at multiple weights and multiple disciplines. He is most notable for his MMA win on 2 days' notice, jumping up 15 pounds and winning the MMA title against a way more experienced MMA fighter at 155 pounds. Will was really a 140-pound fighter. Will also jumped in on 1 day's notice to fight for the 160-pound kickboxing title and had to weigh in with all his clothes on and his sneakers, because Will is that type of guy that doesn't matter what the rules are, what the weight is, he is always there to fight. And you can't teach that in the gym, and I never taught that to Will. I can teach him a lot of things, how to punch and kick, but I can't teach his heart. And this kid has heart of a lion, and he is just an amazing athlete, and he's always there to move that mountain. So Will Hoya deserves this award more than anybody. Yeah. Team Campbell.
Thank you, Bobby. I really appreciate that. It really means a lot to me. Jackhammer promotion has been a home to me. I have a lot of my best memories fighting for Jackhammer promotions, and I owe everything to Bobby Campbell and my teammates who have helped me become the fighter that I am now. And I'm very honored, and this motivates me to keep moving forward and becoming a better fighter. And we'll come back and be better than I was before. And I'm gonna continue moving forward, and that's who I am. And thank you, Bobby.
If you're lucky in life, and especially lucky in life to have Jackhammer Promotions as part of your life, you'll end up meeting a lot of special women in your life. A lot of special, many of them will have things like brains, beauty, guts, aptitude, and heart. Aptitude, not attitude. However, this one, we do call Bobby Campbell to present the award for the best female fighter for Chrissy the Doll Yandoli.
There's obviously no surprise that Chrissy Andoli won this award. Chrissy Andoli is the face of Jackhammer Promotions. She's been a friend of mine for, I want to say 19 years. Chrissy might say something different, but we've known each other for a very long time. And Chrissy always fought on our shows, all different rules. She headlined our shows at least a dozen times. And like I said before, she is beyond our favorite fighter to be on Jackhammer Promotions. So once again, the best female fighter, Chrissy the Doll Yandoli.
Okay, so like Kelly, I didn't know there were speeches, but here we go. She actually told me, so if you have any of if you heard her speech, mine's gonna be way worse. So I've actually known Bobby for 20 years. The first time I ever walked into a fight, Bobby was actually fighting. It was at Sports Plus. We're going to date ourselves because probably a lot of you here don't even know what that was. But it was a really cool place, and you could play games, and they had fights upstairs. Like, who knew, right? So the first fight I ever walked into was my friends invited me out. They're like, come to this fight. I was like, what's going on? Like, you guys fighting in the parking lot? Like, I don't get it. I go to this event, and I was just blown away by the energy, the sport, everything else that was going on. People are kicking each other in the face. I have long legs. I can do that. Then I'm sitting there wondering, why are there no girls doing this? So I took home the program from that fight. Bobby Campbell was one of the headliners, I believe, and your brother. I found a gym in the thing, and I walked in the next day, and I was like, hi, I saw you at the fights on Friday, and I want to fight. And they just looked at me like, okay. Oh, you're a cute blonde girl. But 3 months later, I totally took a fight, which I never suggest any of you do, because I had no clue what was going on. I actually watched her throw kicks, and I was like, oh my God, those are really nice. I don't even know what those are. I think I stood there like this the whole entire time. And that's actually when I met my first real trainer, Tommy Patel. And I got to train with him for 10 years. And then I moved my way over to Long Island MMA, started doing some more MMA. Bobby was there for the whole thing, the whole transition. Every knee surgery I came back from, I fought on Bobby's card, whether it was kickboxing or MMA. When I decided to go pro, the only person's card that I wanted to do that on was on Bobby's card. So, I mean, this year sucks. Sorry, YouTube, for the curse word or whatever, but this year sucks. I had a whole fight plan, which I'm sure everyone in this room did, whether it's getting the ball rolling or finishing up your career, as some of us are. And this whole thing definitely took a toll. So thank you, Bobby, for being able to put this event together so that we can all at least see each other. And we all look so cute when we're not fighting, right? And have Vaselines thrown all over our faces. You guys all look awesome. Not stressing out and yelling at Bobby because we don't have our gloves on time, or the event didn't start on time and I'm a little tired and I don't know why I've been here for 3 hours and I'm not fighting yet. Maybe that's just me. I'm not sure. I just wanted to thank my sponsors, my team, Long Island MMA, Kelly from One More Rep, Nicole from Zubich Law, Kelly from the Blonde Dream Team. Without her, I probably would have lost my love for the sport a long time ago. So luckily I have a friend to be there with me for it. Eric Ott, who's one of our sponsors, Rich Schieffer, Valentine Supervisor, thank you. And thanks, Bobby, again, and everyone for being here. Thanks, guys.
very tough to follow somebody like Chrissy the Doll Yandoli. All that beauty and brains and aptitudes makes it extremely difficult. It's very tough. Call Bobby Campbell up here to present the Toughest SOB Award to Tony Ariema.
This was a very hard award to choose who was going to get this. But I went with my gut on a guy who fought on the show a couple times and seemed to surprise me every time he fought. Always something happened. You know how these fights go. One guy backs out, and you have to find an opponent. His opponent's always backed out, and he was willing to always go up in weight and always fight someone more experienced. And this guy really proved to me, to be honest, that just his heart and his determination and just how tough he was to fight anyone and just see the way he fought. This guy was one of the toughest guys I know. So Tony, you deserve this award as the toughest SOB. Very nervous about the toughest SOB's speech, by the way, because I'm just sure to be very interested. Congratulations.
Wow. First off, I'd like to thank Bobby and Jackhammer Promotions for the award. And I think about it, the last time I walked up here was the fight for the championship against, the best MMA fighter of the year. So it's an absolute honor to see everyone here and notice, the people that have 15 to 20 to 10 years and just know that, I'm only in my second year of the sport. And it's been an absolute honor to take forth this whole sport. And, I'd really like to thank the people that fought. Mike, me and you had a great showdown. And whenever you're ready, I'm always down for the comeback, 110%. We can always run it back, whatever's good with you. I'd like to thank my family, my friends, my former coaches, Mike and Kenny, my brother Michael, my shooter Roldan over there. There he is. You're table 5, 100%. Bobby, I know you put a lot of winners at table 5, but thank you and congratulations to everyone here tonight. Thank you.
However, another tough thing in this world is iron. Like Ivan Drago said, he's like a piece of iron, the American. I can't wear him down. He's like a piece of iron. We welcome Bobby Campbell up to the podium to present the Ironman Award to Dan K9 Sion.
I mean, honestly, what can I say about Dan? Actually, I'm going to say a lot of stuff about Dan. Me and Dan go back a long time ago. I had a falling out with one of my gyms that I was going to. Dan Sion actually went to that gym, and we actually had my fighter fight him. And, we didn't like Dan then, because obviously he fought one of my fighters, so we didn't like him because he was at the gym I was at. But Dan came to me, I want to say, Dan might correct me on this, I want to say 15 years ago. He came to my gym for some sparring, and Dan sparred, and I was trying to give him some pointers. Because I did like Dan. I always really liked him. He's always a tough guy. I gave him some pointers, and then he called me up the next week. He said, I'm fighting, and I don't have a trainer. Can you run my corner? I said, of course, Dan. Anything you want, I'll do for you. And I ran Dan's corner, and the kid amazed me. The guy he beat wound up being a world champion. So Dan is definitely a tough guy. And after that, actually, I trained Dan for a couple years, and I actually trained him for his pro MMA debut, which he fought Jason Lee, who's all the way over there. And that was a great fight for Dan, which he won his MMA debut. And then he did his final fight on our show with one of the toughest fighters out there against Mike Diori. He did his retirement fight on our show, and we're very thankful that Sion chose our event to do his final fight on. And he really proved he is an Iron Man. So Mr. Dan Sion, please come up.
First, if I knew there was a speech, Bobby, I got one prepared, just so you know. All right. Thank you, Bobby, for choosing me as the Iron Man. I've been competing and involved with Bobby's fight card since he held his first one called LIKO. Some of you fighters in here tonight weren't even in the gym training yet. Chrissy, you know what I'm talking about. You remember those days. I was the main event on LIKO 2. I coached and cornered fighters on a few more LIKO shows. I ref an event on the Big Al show. That's when we had no sanctioning and I had to fill in a Puma sweatsuit as the ref. Do a Muay Thai fight that I had no idea the rules of. Good time. I coach fighters down at the Sons of Italy shows, and I've competed in jiu-jitsu and K1 fights under the Jackhammer promotion. It was an honor and pleasure to have done all this with you as the promoter, Bobby. You know, after all the years of competing, it is truly a privilege to receive the Iron Man award. It's an absolute honor to be recognized as a fighter by a fighter of Bobby's caliber. Thank you very much. Congrats to everyone else who received the award tonight. Let's raise our glass because here's to many more shows and to more award shows. Thank you.
Congratulations, getting out. Good shit, bro. Well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have one more round of applause for all of our 2020 Jackhammer Promotions Hall of Fame Award winners. And now it is time to induct 3 new members into the Jackhammer Promotions Hall of Fame, class of 2020. We call Bobby Campbell up to the podium to induct the great Thomas Sconzo.
Now, guys, this is our first Hall of Fame class, so this was very hard to pick our members of the Hall of Fame. So we picked 3 very worthy icons of the sport. Now, even though Tom called me 41 years old just before, I told him I was really going to give him a mean speech then. Tom and me go back, I want to say, a good 25 years maybe. And Tom is always part of the sport, whether he was part of Jackhammer Promotions as a judge, if he was part of Jackhammer Promotions as a referee, if he was part of Jackhammer Promotions as the representative, or if he was part of Jackhammer Promotions as running the whole representative for New York State. Tom been around the sport very, very long. He also took me to Puerto Rico. I got to fight with Tom in Puerto Rico, so that was always great. But Tom is an icon of the sport, and especially in this era right now, Tom has surpassed so many people as the new ISK New York State representative. He's also involved in bare knuckle boxing, which is the new big thing, which is going to be hitting, hopefully hits Mulcahy soon. We don't know, but we'll talk about that in the future. But Tom is going to be the next big thing in mixed martial arts and boxing and kickboxing. And we are happy to induct him into the Hall of Fame, Mr. Thomas Sconzo.
Three-time world champion Bobby Campbell, and somebody I consider one of my closest friends. This is an amazing opportunity because when I look at things now and what I'm doing within the sport after 48 years of being involved, from fighter to coach to referee to where I'm at now, I look at this as what Bobby's doing, as he's always done, is set the bar to create an opportunity to honor the people in combat sports. I was inducted into Aaron Banks' Black Belt Hall of Fame a long time ago when I fight coach Lou Neglia. And I didn't know anybody there. It was kind of interesting. This is personal. And I look at this as years to come to be a major event where we honor people like Tommy Batone, since Moses Arocho, people that have been involved and grew the sport. And for me, this is so special because, like Bobby said, I look back at we were sitting in the back with Jesse and we were laughing at some of the insanity that we've had in our sport. When we talked about Puerto Rico, I dragged William Hoyer, who was 16 years old, and put him in the ring as a pro fighter. And he won. It didn't go on his record. I was able to get rid of that. But we did such crazy things, and we had a lot of fun. And now I get to be in a position where I could take everything I love about this sport and make it safer, make it better. I'm on a committee with November 5th with the Association of Ringside Physicians. I'm a panelist to talk about concussion management, CTE trauma, things that are very important to keep you guys safe, to keep you guys fighting longer. And I'm very proud of that as to where we can go with the sport. You're all sitting there, and like I said, this is so important because somebody like Will, who has 16, or the first time Chrissy Yanandoli ever got in the ring, I was a referee. And I just remember it so vividly. I remember what she was wearing, and she came in like a ballerina on top of a jewelry box. I was just watching. She tiptoed in, and she did this little dance, and I'm like, wow, this is going to be it. But she beat the hell out of this girl. And I get to see that, or I get to see people in the future like Kelly and Harry, people that I've known coming into the sport. So, you know, we're at an age where I get to look back and see the next generation, and that's what's so great about this Hall of Fame. New York is iconic in the fighters that we have here, whether it's Tommy Batone's or Bobby Campbell's or Chris Weidman or Chris Quinto or Chris Wade. We have so many amazing people here that we should get involved and build this thing up to where it is an annual event that's an honor and a privilege like it is here tonight. And the other thing now, this is the first weekend that I'm home. I was supposed to be at a weigh-in in Tennessee tonight. And it's one of the great things that I get to do every weekend is travel, and be careful what you wish for, because the person that I'm most thankful to is my wife, Devin, who puts up with this. And for all of you that have partners, those are the people that keep us training. You know, there were times I was coming home from work and my wife would say, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'll be home." She goes, "You're not training tonight?" I said, "I've had a really bad day." She goes, "Don't even bother coming home. Turn your car around." She goes, "You're going to come home, you're going to be in a bad mood. And then when you realize you're not training, you're going to be in a worse mood. So please do me a favor, don't come home." And I would turn the car around and I'd go train, and I'd feel better when I got home. So these are the people that back us up. These are the people that are most important. My real thanks is to my wife, Devin, who someday maybe the Hall of Fame will honor the people that keep us in this game when we really need to have that extra push. So this one's for you, babe. Thank you.
One more time for the great Thomas Sconzo, ladies and gentlemen. Our next inductee to be inducted by Bobby Campbell is a champion and a gentleman who has influenced men and women in this room in Jackhammer Promotions, and Lord knows how far all over. Our next inductee, ladies and gentlemen, Tommy B Butler.
Tommy B Batone, a real icon to the sport. When I was 15 years old and I first started fighting, my second fight, they had a poster. It was Tommy B Batone versus Tony TNT Ventura. And I used to stare at this poster all the time, and I said, "Oh my God, this guy Tommy B Batone, he's a world champion. I would love to be a world champion one day." And I used to stare at that poster all day long. My brother would make fun of me, "Stop staring at the poster." And I'm like, "No, I'm going to be a world champion because it's Tommy B Batone. Look at this picture over there, and he's fighting Tony TNT Ventura. That's so cool, Ring of Fire." And as a kid, I had someone to look up to and someone to try to be like. And that was Tommy B Batone. And when I was young, I was 17, I got to be on Team USA to go to Greece. And Tommy B Batone was the coach. And this is where I learned a lot from him. You know, even though I was young, I always learned a lot because this man right here, he knows the sport inside and out. And a lot of people in this generation don't give him enough respect. They don't realize how well he knows this sport. This guy knows fighters. He knows exactly what the fighters are going to do. He knows all about every fight style, but he also knows the ins and outs about everything about the sport itself. And he is the most international person I ever met in the sport. And I travel a lot. A lot of times I travel, and I actually thank Tom Batone, because a lot of the traveling I did was because Tom Batone mentioned my name to someone, because I would fight anyone, but he'll mention my name and I'll get the phone call because they talked to Tom Batone first. So without him, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So Tommy B. Batone, I want to thank you for making me who I am today. And I want to induct you into our Hall of Fame, Tommy B. Batone. Oh, I'm sorry, before I call him up, I have one more person to call up. We're going to call up Tommy's number one, Keith Youngs, to the podium to talk about Tommy.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I want to thank Bobby Campbell, of course, and Jackhammer Promotions for having this event. It's a great event. I want to say good job to all the fighters that got awards tonight. Well deserved. But I'm here to support Tommy B. Batone, undisputed middleweight champion of the world. As a fighter, he trained harder than anybody I've ever seen before in my life. He had more heart than anybody I've ever seen. He wasn't just tough, but he wanted it more than anybody I ever met. And it made me become a better fighter, watching him every day. He wasn't just my trainer. He was my mentor, my friend, and I'm proud to call him family. Me and Tom have known each other for 30 years. Yes, we're old. But as you see, a lot of people that came up tonight mentioned Tom, because a lot more than a fighter, he loves this sport more than anybody I've ever seen. He'll do anything for any fighter. He'll help any promoter that needs help. He's traveled all around the world, as Bobby Campbell said, and everybody knows him because he's willing to help. He's selfless in the sport. If somebody calls him and needs a fight, he doesn't look for just his fighters. He'll call and try to get other fighters from other gyms fights. He lets anybody that wants to come down and train with him, come and train with him selflessly, because he loves the sport so much that he just wants to see it grow. He wants to help others. So it's not just about him tonight being a great fighter, but it's also him being a great trainer, a great sport of kickboxing and martial arts. He's not just a martial artist. He believes this is who he is in his soul. He loves fighting. He loves training people, children, adults, men, women, everybody. And this is what he does, and this is what I believe he's going to be doing for the rest of his life till the day he dies. He's going to be out there fighting and doing everything he can to help the sport grow and to help anybody that needs it. He's just, a great person. I'm very proud to call him family. I love the guy. And Tommy, come on up and give your speech, brother.
I got a little speech. First, I want to thank Bobby Campbell. I mean, Bobby, as he told you, I've known him since he was a teenager. We got together the first time to really train together was when he went to Greece with me for Team USA. I don't know how old you were at that time, but it was pretty young. And I met Bobby. We met through his trainer was Tommy Gargiola at the time. And there was another guy that he trained with was Kateri Katri, which is another guy I'm still friends with today. And both of these guys went on to be professional world champions. So, that's what I always look for in fighters. I look for I look for your heart more than anything, Me and Bobby went through plenty of conversations on that trip about that. I thought he was kind of fighting the wrong style at the time. And he went on beyond what anybody could ever dream. He became, I don't know how many world titles he got, but plenty. And he's great promoter, great manager, great trainer, and he made this event possible, but he made a lot of events possible and gives opportunities to everybody. Some of the guys that are here tonight, some of the guys that got awards, Dan Sion, I've known him for many, many years, and he's always been full heart, and I sent him on one of my teams to Florida, many, many years ago. So I give kudos to Dan Sion. He's a great athlete, and I'm glad to see I was at his retirement fight. Mike Basile, a new champion, that new MMA star. He comes down with my teacher, Sifumoto Shirocho, and he comes and works at my school all the time. And, this kid's amazing, to see him putting together his grappling and his striking the way it is now, and to get this award, it's awesome for you, Mike. Congratulations, man. And Keith Youngs that just came up here, he's a perfect example of what this sport is. Keith Youngs is trained with me since he was, 14 years old. And I won't say how old he is, but it was a long time ago, And Keith went on to not only be my #1 student, but he went on to become a pro world champion before he was 21 years old. And he's phenomenal. Bobby can tell you they a few times when he was coming up, there's just no limit to what you can do if you really put your heart into the sport. I mentioned my teacher, Sifumoto Shirocho, but I want to really give him credit because I was really out of control when I met him. I try to be humble and nice today, but I wasn't so nice when I met him. I was a street dog, and he basically took me off the streets. If it wasn't for him, I'd be in prison right now because I was fighting every single day of my life. And I won't get into too much detail, but I had a major street fight the night before I met him where many people got injured. And I'm very proud that I walked into this school and changed my life because of that man right there. So I want to give him credit for that. And beyond that, I want to go to my family. My wife, Marianne, which is here. She was there for me when I first, I was already fighting when I met her, but, it was very early in my career. It's 30 years ago. And anybody who knows me knows that can't be easy to hang around with me for 30 years. So she is the backbone of my career. There's no, people have no idea. It's getting so big now with all the big fighters making money. We were fighting, I would fight for free sometimes just to be able to raise an event where we can do something, give all the money to charity. And I would fight a 10 or 12 round world title fight for free and give all the money to charity just so we can open up opportunities for everybody else to fight. It's not easy when you're fighting for a living and you're doing it for free. So, things have changed, and I'm glad that we opened up those doors. Guys like me and Bobby and many others and Keith, we've been doing this for a very long time, and now today there's opportunities for people in kickboxing, MMA, Muay Thai that can make some money. If not, but I don't recommend you going to the sport for money. Don't go into any sport for money. Do it because you love it. There's another guy, Harry Jermaine, here tonight that trained with me a long time ago. I trained his brother to be a champion, and Harry still comes by the school. And Harry's a great up-and-coming fighter, fought in glory. There's no limit to what you can do. People would have thought he was crazy to fight in glory, and he knocked the guy out in the first round. So let's give Harry some kudos. And he learned something from me, and I know in that fight, don't let a Russian rush in, right? So, I want to say that I'm very proud to see where the sport has gone, and thank you so much to Bobby and everybody else. But besides that, I want to mention Jesse McBroom, which has also been on my teams, and he's a great fighter, and he's one of the toughest guys I've seen come up on Bobby's promotions, and he deserves a lot of credit, and I take my hat off to you as well, Jesse. And Tom Sconza, he's been around a long time. He's been around. He's watched me fight for many years, and I watched him come up. And we all recommended when it was time where we had to decide who was going to be in charge of this whole thing. When we got past the WK finally, which I wasn't fond of. we all voted. I mean, the whole state, like every organization, every promoter, everybody put out that we all wrote letters that we wanted Tom Sconser to be in charge. So I want to give Tom Sconser the credit that he's doing. This is important that everybody here is having a good time. And Bobby, thank you so much. And I just want to thank everybody. God bless. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Now, our final inductee into the Jackhammer Promotions Hall of Fame, class of 2020. So, gentlemen, not sure I can speak for everybody on this one, but I have seen him fight. I've seen him bleed, seen him sweat, and hear him talk. And he's going to be talking up here tonight as Bobby Campbell comes up to the podium to induct Jesse McBrew.
There's definitely a lot to say about this guy. This guy's definitely a character. First time I met Jesse, he fought on a Jackhammer Promotions show. He was not training with me. He was at a different gym. And this guy harassed me, and not in a mean way, but harassed me in a good way. He wanted me to give his wife a free ticket. This guy followed me around for, I would say, a good hour and a half. That's a long time. Good hour and a half, this guy followed me around to give his wife a free ticket. So after a while, I said to him, I said, hey, you know what? I kind of like you because you're not going to stop. So I gave his wife a free ticket. And then his trainer at the time called me the next day and said, hey, Jesse won the fight. I said, hey, Jesse wants to train with you because they were grappling school. I said, oh, okay, bring him in. And Jesse came into the gym the next day and he signed up. And ever since then, it's been a crazy ride with Jesse McBroom because he is definitely a character, but he is a good character. I mean, this guy is a tough guy, willing to fight anyone. He actually has a fight lined up. I hope he doesn't say who he's fighting, but he has a tough fight lined up in the future coming up, which we don't know the date, but I hope he doesn't mention it because I know how Jesse is. He spills the beans right away once he finds out. But funny story is actually Tommy's brother actually flew us down to Florida, and Jesse, we're in the airport, and they stop and they want to take pictures with Jesse McBroom. They think he's Chuck Liddell. And there I'm holding the camera for these people, taking a picture, and I'm like saying to myself, like, I'm the champ, and this guy, what? And that wasn't the only time. This happened multiple times hanging out with Jesse McBroom. That I had to take pictures, and everyone thinks he's Chuck Liddell, or everyone thinks he's famous because he definitely looks the part. But Jesse definitely is not only one of my best friends, he was my former partner at the gym, and he is definitely one of my best fighters I ever had, and definitely one of the best persons I ever known, because you have to say a lot by a person's character, and this guy has a great character about him, and he always is a generous person, and he means everyone to the gym. Everyone loves him at the gym. Everyone loves him wherever they go. Jesse McBroom, I was happy to introduce you to the Hall of Fame.
All right, guys. No mic, but I'm good at yelling. So I just want to say I'm coming up last. Tommy really should have been, Tommy let the ground for everybody. We actually did a video thing, and I spent my time saying some shit about Tommy and Tom. And Tommy, Tommy's on another level. Like Bobby said, Bobby looked up to him, and Bobby showed me a lot of stuff and took me. Forget about where he took me. So Tommy, man, you're the godfather, bro. And Tom, I did a nice piece for Tom as well. Tom opened a lot of doors for me, which I'm gonna mention. I actually did write something. Bobby gave me a heads up. So Tom opened a lot of doors for me as well. Tom's a little older than me. There's an age barrier there, but we actually hung out on a personal level. Besides the fighting game, you know, he showed me a lot of things, but I'm a little loud and vulgar, and he told me tone it down. We're going places where there's suit and ties, and you can't be that guy. But whatever, I'm that guy. Anyway, I wanted to thank Bobby, and I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. You know, it means a lot to me. I want to thank a few people who helped me to get here. When I first started, like Bobby said, I was a grappler. I started at Sarah's grappling, and I started later in life. Like I was fighting in bars and shit when I was younger, and then I started fighting at like 30 years old. And when I thought I knew how to fight, but I was wrong, dude. Like it's a different world. A street guy, street fighter, and different world. It's all footwork. So a few people I want to thank is James Gabbett. James Gabbett was a Muay Thai teacher for Sarah's. I didn't like him personally. He was a fucking dickhead. But as a coach, he was a hell of a coach. He was a hell of a coach, and he taught me a lot of footwork. He didn't, you know, I wanted to box. Yeah, I want to box. To me, boxing is all feet. Forget about your hands. If you don't learn your feet first and how to move, then your hands will come. But needless to say, great guy, great coach. As a human, dickhead, but good guy. I also want to thank Wayne. Tom mentioned it before. Wayne was a purple belt when I was a white belt, and he got me into these grappling tournaments and to a sports jiu-jitsu, which that's where I had met Tom. We went against a couple of Tom's guys, and Bobby told me not to do this, but I'm not shitting on Tom, but I did beat Tom's guy. Tom, you there? I beat your guy. Anyway, so like I said, so I want to thank Tom. He opened a lot of doors. He got me signed with the Gracie fight team, and he opened a lot of doors. I took fights probably with Tom I shouldn't have. Actually, funny stories with Tom. I used to go to underground fighting for the Underground Combat League and fight in like basements in the Bronx for no money as a pro. And Bobby's like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Why are you going? And my wife even said, we go in there to be midgets. We talk about midgets, but they would be midgets smoking blunts as we're walking in the basement. And my wife's like, what are we doing here, bro? We live in Levittown. Why are we in the Bronx fighting and fucking whatever? And that was for no money. That was just to get working. And Bobby says, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? You got to fight Saturday. Why on Wednesday are you in the Bronx? But anyway, so Tom's got Bobby Campbell. I want to thank Bobby. Bobby's, when I came to Bobby, you know, Bobby's a hustler. You know, he's a promoter. Everybody knows Bobby. So fucking, you know what I'm saying? He sees guys that fight, but he sees opportunity. So Bob, I did travel with Bobby. Bobby took a lot of fights, and Bobby did care about me. He told me not to take fights. I took fights, I got fucked up. I took fights just looking for money, just to get out there, and I got my shit pushed in. And Bobby told me beforehand, you're going to get your shit pushed in. And I still got my shit pushed in. But another thing, I want to thank all the promoters, you know, Joe and all the guys, Top Kicks, and all the promoters, Bobby Campbell. We did a lot of fights. I was actually on the first, Tom got me the gig at the MMA Expo in the Javits Center, the first ever MMA show at the Javits Center, right, Thomas? I was on that card. The first ever MMA show in Terminal 5, the first ever MMA show legalized MMA in Manhattan, right, Thomas? We did that for Victorium, I believe it was. So all the promoters. And another thing I wanted to say is, as an amateur, I think for all you new guys coming up, if there's any amateurs is so important just to get the experience. Everybody's looking to go pro, get that money. And then what happens if you lose? Bobby always taught me, as an amateur, you can never lose. You can have a million fights. Bobby, you can say, how many times you used to fight? 3 times a month. He had me in Florida. He had me in Virginia. He had me, I think, in New England. 3-4 times a month, every fucking weekend as an amateur, fighting. I had bruises on my knees, still taking another fight with Thomas. And the doctor said, dude, you're all bruised up. You can't fight. They still let me fight. Stitches. This, as an amateur, I think that's where you get your work in. A lot of guys, that's where they make the mistake. For example, real quick, I don't want to take up too much time. We did a show at the Army Barracks in Manhattan. Tom, you remember this one too, but so I was signed to a management team, which Bobby told me don't sign to. I made a little money, but they made more. Bobby told me don't sign to. I signed anyway because I'm a tool bag. So T-shirts, posters, yeah. So we go to the city. The guy's flying in. The promoter will only fly the fighter in. Won't fly in this coach. So he calls me and asks me if I could coach because I'm signed to the same management team. If I could coach him, I said, I don't know shit about coaching. I'll bring Bobby. So me and Bobby go. Again, by the way, they would take a picture of me, not Bob. So we get there. So the guy, Bobby's wrapping the kid's hands. And the kid goes, the raps, I don't like him. I don't like him. I'm offended. This is my coach, 3-time world champ, fought everywhere in the world. I said, buddy, you don't like the raps? I said, why? Who usually wraps your hands? He's like, oh, no one. It's my first fight. I said, how many kickboxing fights have you had? Amateur kickboxing? None. Okay. How many grappling tours? Maybe you're an exceptional grappler. You're a fucking MMA, jiu-jitsu. What belt are you? I don't know. I don't do jiu-jitsu. Wow. Who the fuck told you should be here getting in a cage right now? Remember, Bob? Kid got knocked the fuck out. We got out of there. But anyway, that's how important amateur, and this was a pro fight. Go figure. So that's how important an amateur career is. I think you need to fight as many fights as you can every weekend. Spar. Bobby had a sparring every day. I'll tell you right now, when you train with Bobby Campbell, Dan will tell you, every day is sparring. We're doing jabs every day. We're sparring. When I say sparring, I mean guys are touching gloves. We're fucking hitting each other in the head every day. Not that that's the best thing, but anyway. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to say is, guys, everybody wants to give, for the haters out there that hate. They say, oh, why is this guy getting that? Why is this guy doing that? Not just being friends with Bobby's, but I put asses in the seats. The name of the game is promotion. If you can't promote yourself, I get sponsors and guys are like, oh, why is this? Because I got a fucking $3,000 sponsor. I got a $5,000 sponsor. I go out and I sell myself. I go out and I put asses in the seats. That's not Bobby doing it. That's me going out and selling whatever my product is. Whatever hustle your game is, if you know what I mean. You got to push your product. I push my product. So you young guys got to know how to, nobody's going to push you. You got to, I used to take fights in Virginia. I'd chase guys down in Virginia. Bobby would be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, bro? I'm driving 15 hours to Virginia to fight. Again, win or lose. I took that other fight. Where the fuck was it? That Russian that choked me out. Whatever. Got paid. The point of that was paid in exposure. And every time I lost, Bobby said, don't go. But we went anyway. Bobby was actually fighting in Scotland, yes. He was across the world, and he said, don't take the fight. I'm not there. I took the fight. But so to the haters, like, fucking put in the work, bro. Put in the gym. Big thing is abs with me, bro. We put in the work in the gym. Bobby said we put in the work. You might want to talk shit. Come down to the gym. We spar on Sundays. You know what I mean? That's what we do. So for anyone who fucking hated, we had a lot of guys. They just didn't like Bobby. I don't know. I swear to God, bro. I got more trouble with this guy. So to the haters. And another thing is what I give to the sport. I've had elbow surgery. I've had a lot of Muay Thai fights and checking kicks. I've had elbow surgery. I've had knee surgery. I blew out my MCL and kept fighting. I have an ACL surgery. I had stitches on my face, broken nose numerous times. I can't even breathe out of the right side of my nose. My face is rearranged, stitched from fighting. This is all self-inflicted shit. So, and you can't get it out of you. You just can't leave it alone. So, fuck all the haters. We do it. I fight for free. Like I said, we spar on Sundays, so we still spar. The age don't matter. We got fights coming up. I wish Bobby would put the gear on more, but. And then, like I was saying, to all the guys that wear the T-shirts and anyone that goes to the ring, Tommy, these new guys, your younger fighters, your brother I fought, all you guys. You wear the T-shirt. You get your name on the poster. Will Joya, Tom was mentioning Will. At 16, we had this kid. We were putting him in fucking fights. He didn't give a fuck who he was fighting. He'd show up. We'd take him to Puerto Rico fight. We'd take him to Boston fight. Miami fight. Oh, this got canceled. You're fighting 10 pounds up. The guy didn't make weight. You guys know the promotions. All right, this is the fight. And he'd still take the fight. Enough of that T-shirt tough guys. We show up. We don't take fights and then bail the week of. If you go into a fight and you're not injured, I don't want to hear hurt rib, my toe hurts. Every fight, I'm hurt. Every fight, I'm injured. Dan, how many fights you go in, you're hurt? Every one. If you're not going into a fight hurt, you're not training right. So there's, as far as pulling out fights, because especially when Tom said he did it for money. He did it to make a living. You know what I'm saying? I did it a lot for money too, but I like fighting. But for guys making money, That's the name of the game, bro. There's no T-shirt shit. I don't want my name on the shirt. Don't even waste the time. Don't waste Bobby's time, the promoter, because then we got to scrounge and find a street kid that'll still take the fucking fight and show up. It's just embarrassing. My point is, pain is temporary, glory lasts forever. You know what I'm saying? That's why I did this shit. And the last thing I want to say is I really started this at like 15 years old, fighting to prove a point. And I just wanted to prove, you know what I'm saying, that I'm a badass to my girl. So I started fighting again. Mama, officially badass.
You don't want to say it. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for the Jackhammer Pro Hall of Fame, class of 2020. Now, moving forward with the festivities this evening, before we call all of our Hall of Famers and award winners to come up with a final picture with their trophies tonight, I'd like to call up one more time, Chrissy the Doll Yandoli.
Thanks so much. Thanks. So I really just want to take this time tonight to honestly thank Bobby for doing this. The first award dinner in my couple of years of it. We won't talk about how many it is. Maybe 20, I don't know, something around there that I've ever had an awards dinner and be able to go to and get dressed up and look pretty and not just look like a fighter. So all of us, but thank you, Bobby, for doing this for all of us. I also wanted to wish Bobby happy birthday. I don't know if y'all know, but Bobby's birthday is tomorrow. Sneaky, sneaky. So I just wanted to wish Bobby happy birthday and thank him for doing this for all of us, because how many promoters out there actually work for you as a fighter? I'm going to say 0. Being in the fight industry as long as I have, and fighting on as many different promotions as I have, no one actually looks out for you. And I have to say that Bobby actually does look out for the fighter. And he put this together for all of us tonight. You know, we're not fighting. We're kind of, some of us are training, some of us aren't training. We're all kind of looking at each other, not knowing what's going on tomorrow. So thank you, Bobby, for doing this for us tonight and recognizing some of your fighters. And happy birthday, and I hope you have the best day.
Ladies and gentlemen, with those of you for the ladies and gentlemen tonight that received trophies and you Hall of Fame inductees, please come up to this round by the podium for one final photo tonight. Please bring your trophies with you.
Everybody can line up over here.
Jackhammer Promotion, shouts out to all these people. Shouts out to everybody, everyone well deserved. Some good awards tonight, some great speeches. Take care, everybody.
Squeeze